Welcome to the episode of Great Podcast. New day, Pistons fan. What we're going to do today is chat a little bit about some of the things that have been happening over with the Detroit Pistons. Got Trajan Langdon, president back to operations, effective, I believe, like last Tuesday. And also in the process, they let Troy Weaver on his way out. And then we also have an individual by the name of Michael Blackstone that looks like he'll be the next general manager for the Pistons coming over with Langdon from the Pelicans. So, um, yeah, good positive news in the midst of just how tough things have been for the Pistons the last couple of years. Fresh slate, fresh start. Eli, I just want to throw it over to you and just see what your thoughts are on the new regime starting off from Pistons.
Yeah, no, I think obviously much desperately needed. One of the things that has just been a very bad, turbulent, really 10-year, 12-year stretch, but I mean, definitely the last handful of years, it just the team has seemed to bottom out. I mean, you could say it was bad like 2011 to 2016, but I mean, there was a playoff appearance or two. Obviously, they were getting washed up by Braun mostly when they got in, but one of the things where at least, they were putting together something formidable. Last 3 years, I think we've had the worst record two of the last three. Um,
Yeah.
just not a lot to build on. Outside of Cade, outside of a handful of other players, you don't really know what direction we're going, and just so I'm looking for I like the abrupt change. I like we hired Langdon. He came in very shortly after relieved Troy Weaver of his duties. Read something about Troy Weaver, just interesting stats. Obviously, I think he's had a good handful. I mean, trading back up to get Duran, that was a good pick. I feel like. I think he made the right choice with Cade over Jalen Green back in 2020 or 21, whatever that was. I
For sure.
think he's made some right choices, but also at I just think he has mismanaged cap space, mismanaged free agency, mismanaged whatever you want to call it, where we're taking on all these crazy contracts to clear up
Yeah.
space eventually. Um, and I don't know, I kind of like a rambling, but he did all that for the big anticipation of this past season, and it flamed out. And he signed nobody in free agency worth talking about, nobody to make a difference. So I just kind of think kind of ran its course, and we need a fresh slate, probably across the board. I know we're going to get into if Monty Williams should part ways as well, but I think definitely I like the move so far as far as his clean house
Hmm.
heading into this draft. That's 3 weeks ago or 3 weeks from today, I believe. And the last thing I'll say about Trey Weaver that I heard was that in his 4 year stretch as GM, I've heard I did not fact check this, but I heard he had more losses than we did from 2000 to 2010. So
Yeah.
just shows you how bad it was. When you look at the team success in a decade to decade stretch. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I echo a lot of those things. You know, appreciate Troy Weaver for his services. I think something that you and I identified with him, I don't know if this was just being in OKC where they just used to trading picks and just taking on bad contracts. It just felt like he could just do that and draft like above average talent, but he just could never get over the hump. Like there was never anything like there just never felt like there was any urgency in free agency to go, doing a lot of the teams doing overspend for star
Mm-hmm.
players or like, star, like veterans, like role players. Like um it just felt like you just wanted to kind of create this core of like 19 to 20-year olds and just kind of roll them out there and just kind of see what happens. And that's just not a good recipe, especially if you're not hitting on some of these picks. Like I think all solid players except for Killian. So yeah, no, I'm with you there. I mean, I'm just looking forward to seeing what Langdon will be able to bring to the table. Blackstone will be able to bring to the table. I saw a couple players that Langdon has drafted recent years for the Pelicans. Trey Murphy, 3-and-D guy, 6'8", 6'10", can shoot. They essentially, I mean, he's played so well for them. They're essentially comfortable with moving off of Brandon Ingram and just having him kind of be the guy going forward. He also drafted Herb Jones, all defense type player, caliber type player. So those, couple guys that you just kind of hear their names, watching basketball throughout the season. Solid players. Had the league pass. I was able to watch quite a bit of the Pelicans this year. So yeah, I like where we're going as far as with fresh start, and just looking forward to seeing and just hearing more about some of these moves. And I ain't somebody that's trying to ask people's jobs, but I do feel like we got to kind of just close it all completely and get rid of Monty Williams as well, or at least like hope that they kind of take a close look at that, because I don't think he really wants to be here either. So
Right.
see what happens.
Yeah, no, I agree with you on that part a lot. As far as I don't know if he wants to be here as well, so I don't know how hard it would be to necessarily sit down and get something done.
Mhm.
Obviously, the man's not going to voluntarily walk away from 60 million remaining on that contract if he's rightfully owed that. Um, so if you got to fire me, you got to fire me. I understand it from that standpoint, but I do think there'll probably be to sit down and figure something out because I don't know if he necessarily wants to be tied to this anymore, and I don't know if we want him associated with this anymore. So I think it's kind of mutual there, and it may be, just regime overspent on a coach. They didn't want to overspend on anything else, but overspent on the coach. Got him late. I mean, I think we hired a coach late into the hiring season last year. So
Last
it's
late.
just you know, so I think all that has an effect on everything. So just kind of dragging him all away, wasn't really feeling it. GM not providing the best cohesive roster from top to bottom, and just that's how you end up with 65 losses or whatever the hell we finished with. So I think it's
Yeah,
I don't know, it's pretty bad, but I think it just is. I mean, it's cliche to say, but it's gotten so bad that literally we're gonna roll out less than 14 wins next year. It seems unlikely. So it's we damn
yeah,
near have to go up from here. And
yeah.
and I like these moves though. Just clean slate, get some like you're saying, like we've said, get some young. We got the young talent. Let's mix in some of those old savvy vets, guys that have been around the block, guys that can
Got
are
to play
difference makers
basketball.
and also know how to win a little bit. All that sounds bad, but I mean, Cade and Killian, not Killian, he's gone. Cade and Ivy, I mean, they probably have witnessed 40 wins in their career total. Like it's one of those things where they don't even know how to win. Since they've been in the league, they haven't even been hit 500 on the regular season yet, as
Yeah,
far as like how many wins they've seen. So I just think you got to mix some people in that's been on some good teams, seen some things, know how to win, know how to close out games, and I like that's why I like some of those names. Malik Monk, I think he's a difference maker. He's obviously had his ups and downs, but he's settling into that role that he was in last year.
yeah.
Uh, like 15 a game. We know he can shoot the three. We know he can create his own shot. Uh, just Cade's double team, kick it out to him. I mean, you good luck if you have a 4 or 5 swing around try to guard him after you double team Cade. So and if you're not double teaming him, he's a snipe shooter. So I love somebody like that, and he plays games. I think he played like 70 something games last year. So just all positive signs for me. Somebody like him, Nick Claxton, just some juice um, around the rim,
Yeah,
protector, run the floor. Players like that I think are in both players who have been in the playoffs and or won or are in their mid 20s. So yeah, that's kind of what I think we need to kind of juice this situation up a little bit.
sure. Yeah, I think hit it right on the head. We just got to get a good mix of veteran guys, some of these younger players, and I think we just got to really just prioritize shooting, 3-point shooting. I think they're like, I don't know, feel like Troy was able to kind of put together a decent team after the trade deadline, to where I feel like they were competing a little bit better, won a couple more games. Not that they won many at all, but like they just looked a lot better after the trade deadline. So I feel like, man, like we just need some guys that can just hit that open corner three and can also just, eliminate the other team's best player in some capacity, and, also help out Cade, from an offensive standpoint, because I know he kind of has some turnover issues and stuff, but here's some spots where he wasn't really able to. I mean, like they couldn't, like teams didn't have to really guard them because nobody was making shots. So
Right.
I'd love to see, a guy like Gary Harris. You already said Malik Monk. I think, if we're trying to get a guy like, Brandon Ingram, we're probably gonna end up getting off of Duran, or Ivy or Asar, like whatever that might look like. And, you know, I'm throwing another name, Isaiah Hartenstein. He just had a hell of a run with the Knicks.
I
I
like
feel
that,
like,
man.
yeah, watched him, pass the ball a little bit, tough, gritty, got a little rim protection in him. Claxton, another guy, lob threat. Um, Honestly, like I think we've sat here, at least myself, a couple of different times and have compared, Cade to like Luca. And you look at the team that Luca has around him. I mean, he got, you know, guys that are taking on the toughest defender each night. You got guys just kind of spotting up in the corner, waiting to get, kick out for a three. They just
Yep.
got to find a way to get some more wings and just like shooting and also kind of like a running mate for Cade. Like, can we get a guy that can get if Cade get 25, he can get 25 too. Like we kind of need to, create like a almost like a duo or like a 1-2 punch to kind of help Cade out. And even other guy, DeJounte Murray. I know somebody that you had brought up, a couple different times.
Mhm.
Just somebody can go get their own shot. I mean, I wouldn't even be opposed to like Zach LaVine. I know that we already know how to take on big, shitty contracts. Why not try another one? I feel like he might be motivated to actually, play.
Yeah. It
Seeing
can't
that
get no
his,
worse.
has went down as much as it has. So yeah, I just want to see that 60 million spent some way, somehow. I don't like I'll go crazy if we find a way to just not spend really any of that free agency money for like the third or fourth year in a row.
Yeah, no,
So
I'd rather make a mistake. I'd rather win 14 games again, trading for Brandon Ingram, signing all these players,
yeah, like
than
this
be
goes wrong.
complacent,
Yeah.
and go out there. Like, at least we got the excitement. At least at the end of the day, you got the trade pieces, or we got Brandon Ingram, we can get some back for him. League Monk, we can get some back for him. Whatever, whatever. I think that's kind of how we have to operate, is just kind of put more chips in the center of the table and go for it.
Yeah.
And Jaden Ivey, Jaden Ivey's a good player.
Yeah.
He very good player. I could easily see him down the line, all-star game or two appearances, so like that type of situation for him. He's electrifying, can get to the basket like none other. But like you said, as far as a running mate, he Cade needs somebody. If Cade's going to be the number one, Cade needs a, a guy that can hit 40% from three as the number two guy on there, or somebody. You see how much even the team looked different when we signed Von Shekio, who I
Hmm.
do not think is a long term. Whatever, he could be a player for us, but I don't. If we're in the Eastern Conference Finals in a couple of years, I doubt Von Chekio's in the lineup. But you see how well the team looked even throwing him in there. Just a guy that you have to respect from three, and he can hoop a little bit too. I give him that, but it just how much different the dynamic of the team looks when you had a guy you had to trust out there, versus just collapsing and double teaming,
Yeah.
and yeah. So it's been rough to watch, but I think these type of moves, Brandon Ingram would be going the most in, because we'll be giving up some of our young talent that we do have. But then again, we're getting a multi-time All-Star back,
Hmm.
um, a guy that if it doesn't work out, we can easily get off of him and get some stuff back. Good trade package without a doubt. So I think you know it's how much of a gamble is it really? You know,
Nothing's a game at this point. I mean, I don't think I'd be hard pressed to find any move that they make that would like make me unhappy at this point. Like I think I'm just full blown like optimist, just optimistic on anything they decide to do because we're not anything. But it has involved veteran talent. I'll just say that it has involved veteran talent, shooting, and defense. And I feel like just watching, how that team was put together, the Pelicans, I feel like this guy can hopefully identify a couple, individuals, whether it's in this drafts, you know, trading back, whatever that looks like. Just really, really looking and needing the Pistons to be somewhat formidable again. But yeah, I think there's a lot of options out there. It's a good feeling knowing we have all that cap space to use at our disposal. And I don't know, I love the idea of Cade and Ingram. Like I think that just like Ingram, somebody can get you 35, 40, really any night he wants to. I think it's kind of like a motor thing for him at the end of the day. but it'll be interesting to see him playing, potentially playing on a team like the Pistons. I feel like the Pelicans are kind of like crowded with like Zion and some of the other players they've already drafted. So yeah, I mean, I just got the free agency thing up here. I mean, Gary Harris. I don't know if you heard of Gary Trent Jr., shooting guard for the Raptors, 25-year-old. But he healed. I wouldn't be opposed to them, throwing some money his way. I mean, I think there's just some solid options out there that I'd be okay with us, even if it is overpaying
Yeah.
to an extent.
I kind of forgot about Gary. Gary he played Gold State, didn't he? Too? Is that
Uh,
different?
Gary Trent, he was in Portland for a hot second, then he got
Yeah, maybe
traded
that's
to
what I'm thinking. Yeah,
Toronto.
yeah, yeah. But okay, okay. But yeah, no, I mean, yeah, I think we're on the same page there. Like players of that ilk, I do think we have to keep Cade. I have another 30-minute discussion here about giving him the money and what that means long
Yeah,
term. Do I want to see him play 70 some games? Yes, but I think he's assuming all that's behind us, and he can. I mean, that's just kind of the nature of the game now as well. Players
yeah,
are going to get 60 plus games. It's just kind of they're sitting players
right.
out a little longer. It's weird. Um, I think the Iron Man LeBron types 77 games plus
Behind us.
15 years is I think that might be few and far between. Like I was just getting off on a tangent here, but they're talking about Luca could sign a 350 something $1 million contract, and you do the math on that, it's like 70 million a year. I'm like, this motherfucker don't play 70 games. He's gonna be making more
Yeah,
than $1 million per game played.
can't wrap my
but
mind around it. Yeah,
yeah, he gonna 70 million, 63 games played. That's just sound crazy. But
like
I
25,
do
20
think
doubles.
the NBA just signed that new right. NBA just signed that new deal. I forget the exact number on it, but in the 20-30 billion-dollar range.
Jeez.
So that little sprinkles down to the players, that's going to be some big, big, big sprinkles.
For
So
sure.
I think what I'm saying all that to say is getting a player locked in like Cade now,
Does
that could be
wonders.
beneficial because that could be, let's say he is who we think he is, that's going to cost us twice as much in 2 years. So I
Hmm.
think um, that's not a bad way to look at it either. Getting some of these players locked up that we feel on this free agent circuit and kind of going from there. And then the cap space is going to explode in whenever that does, and we'll be to go back to the drawing board, but everybody else as well.
For sure.
So I'm just I don't know, man. The draft it's just a sucky draft this year too, so it's hard to
Yeah.
you know
You would
years
hope.
past we'd be out here talking about whoever. But I
Yeah.
think you gotta kind of live in a free agent. The difference makers in free agency this summer, not the draft. Kind of.
Yeah. No, we unfortunately missed the top three a couple different years and also missed out on some generational talents as well in the process. I just think about how if we would
Yeah.
have had Jabari Smith or Brandon Miller, that's
No,
would have
that
made the
picture of
wonders.
Cade, the 3 years we got the worst record in the league. Cade, Pablo, and
Yeah.
Victor. Man, come on. Hey,
They knew that Adam had made the call. Like, we can't have all them in Detroit.
no.
We gotta spread
Look,
them out. We gotta Orlando. We gotta get San Antonio back in the mix. We gotta,
yeah, yeah,
we're gonna give San Antonio 2 picks in the top 8 so they can, trade for Trey Young. Like Adam made a
yeah.
lot of calls, but yeah, no, I'm with you. I mean, look at this draft. I think just to chat on that a little bit. It's top 10. I think I like maybe two guys. Do a little more research on Buzelis. I know you brought up Holland, but I'd like to see Klingon. Obviously I feel like we'd have to move off of um, Duran in some capacity. I feel like
Mm-hmm.
some of these guys might get shipped out. Um, and if that's the case, I'd like Klingon, lob threat, rim protector. Watch a lot of Connecticut UConn basketball this
Yeah,
year, and
no,
I
he can
feel
hoop.
like night and day difference when he's in the lineup and not. Like, when they sit him down for a little bit, like I think I saw he has like a plus like 300 or something as far as like a plus minus, like when he's on the court. I mean, they were just running through the tourney this year. So I'd like, that. I mean, him, Ingram, Cade, and you work like Malik Monk, Gary Harris, and like Asar Thompson in that starting lineup. I mean, I
Yeah,
think that'll get it done. That could win about 30 to, maybe 28 20, 30 games, and I don't know. And I think I know it can't have our cake and eat it too, but even with like Ivy, like I can see him maybe come off the bench, be like a six man. I feel like we got some flexibility here. I'll be curious to see how they go about some of this because I like these guys, but I also think might have to sacrifice a couple of them in order to get a couple more W's,
Right.
become a little more competitive quicker.
Yeah, I agree. We have to because we don't have the luxury of building blocks. Like we've been our, our on the ground floor. So it's kind of we were in the middle of a rebuild and we have never got off the ground floor and we've just re-entered the rebuild. So I think
Yeah,
we're kind of we need some some quick strides. And I think the best way to do that is you got to get rid of some of this young talent. Why they still are worth something. We also I think I like Asar. I do think Asar is an NBA player. I'm not talking down upon him, but my
yeah,
man
shoot.
shot like 14% from three last year or 16% from three or something abysmal. And I don't even think I'm far off on the percentage. I think he hit like 11 of them or 7 of them or something. Like I can look it up, but it's like it's a crazy
Yeah,
low number. Um and, I'm wondering, not that the 3 point is every all in basketball, but at his position, it is a major feat.
it is
feat.
now.
Yeah. And that just I don't know, I just can't imagine he can in 2 or 3 years be hitting 35% from three.
Yeah,
Maybe he can. I just don't know. I just like it's one of those things he has or he don't. And when that's the
right.
case, you're worse than Jaden Ivey is right now. So you're kind of we can't have two non-shooters out here. So um Duran is the center. So I mean that's 3 non-shooters. So I mean somebody's got to get cut as far as we got to have some people here that can spread the floor.
For sure.
And he's a nice piece, and maybe he could be their one non-shooter on the floor, the gadget guy. But for us, I don't know if that works. And I like his game, but also I would hate to keep him around another year. He shoots 14% from three again, and then we can't get a second round pick for him, regardless of how good he is. We
Right.
can't. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I
Yeah.
kind of think let's say I think he's one of the more interesting pieces I think that we have as far as um maybe somebody being like I could you could throw him in the trade with to get Brandon Ingram because he's an interesting player
Yeah.
for him. They got a lot of shooters. He doesn't need to do to go get rebounds and give it to Zion. They got a lot.
Yeah.
Um,
'Cause he's
yeah,
also got a little point guard in this game too, to where it's like, you can move him around a little bit in the lineup. Maybe he can run like the second unit or something like that.
and he can prove me
Yeah.
wrong. Maybe he prove me wrong. He
Right.
can get that jumper now, but just with how our team is built currently, sorry, I think he might be he's part of that trade deal to me because
Yeah.
if I could pick him or Ivy, I'm picking Ivy. If I could pick him or Durham, I think I'm picking Durham. So
At
I
least with
think
Ivy, he had a couple games got hot from three. He can show he can hit it consistently. So you just hope he be able to take that step. Um,
yeah, Ivy's just not a like Asar Thompson is a bad 3 point shooter. Ivy's just an okay. You know what I mean? Like it's nothing to
Streaky.
yeah. I think I looked it up earlier today. It was like 33% or something. So something you can
Mhm.
live with, but yeah, anything in the teens is ridiculous.
You think Marcus
Uh,
Sasser is I also think he might be a solid trade piece. I think he showed some flash. I mean, last year he played 71 games, averaged like 8, 2, and 3. I think he shot around like 35, 40% from three. I think it was
I
probably a little
mean,
close to 40%.
I couldn't
Um,
tell you who it is, but I seen some dude on YouTube one day with a whole video talking about he's the second best guard on the team.
I think I would agree. I agree with that. Yeah. At a
Yeah,
couple points last year, he definitely looked like I'm like for sure. And I mean, even Isaiah Stewart, like I know I think he's a Detroit favorite, but I mean, I also feel like that's just a
yeah, no,
very
easy trade piece.
like
We can
yeah,
find that guy.
for
We can
sure.
find that guy in a mid-level exception all day and some
So I
hanging
think
out
he'd
on
be
the
up for
bench.
a contract this
Yeah,
year. So,
yeah.
and I hope we're not extending him. I mean,
I mean, I'm
10,
talking shit.
7
We can
years.
go get like Dwight Howard and have him do that. Like, I mean, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, he only played like 40, 46. I mean, I think he's hurt, but just, didn't really play a ton of games. cold clock somebody before the game started. He's kind of starting to be
Yeah,
known more for like his, what he's doing, from like that standpoint than anything. And I'm even looking, still got Wiseman. I feel like
yeah.
we
That's
got,
that's
I
the
feel
other
like
problem, bro. I hate to cut you off. We
no, go
had to
ahead.
have a team full of eighth men off the benches. Like,
Yeah.
like we have a bunch of dudes that it's hard to say you want to get rid of them because they're obviously good players, but
Yeah.
they're all like this dude would be great first guy off the bench. I could say that for like six dudes that we have in our rotation. Like, so it's just
Yeah. Because we
yeah,
got like this issue. We got like a trio of guards. We got Sasser, Ivy, and Thompson. He's guard forward. Then you got Wiseman, you got Duran, you got Isaiah Stewart. That all forward center. So it's like you got to
Monchek,
imagine.
yeah,
Yeah, we got like Fontecchio. What is he plays? He's a forward. Even the guy Quentin Grimes, decent player. We definitely got some assets here. We can shift out and and move around. Um, so yeah, we need Trajan in front of a microphone yesterday. Like I gotta just start to hear some of the stuff that he's planning on doing and what they got cooking. I think I'm back excited for the draft now. We got new president of basketball operations, new general manager coming into the mix, and I think we legit got some pieces here that we can, because there's some teams, there's gonna be a lot of teams blowing it up this year. Like the
most definitely.
Pelicans, uh Cavs, Clippers. Um, I feel like the list is just endless. You got a lot of teams are almost at a crossroads that are willing to, Chicago. I would sign off on that Zach LaVine trade yesterday just to give Cade like a running mate that he can have a chance with. You know what I'm saying? Like that can like he can like go to war with like every other star point guard does in the league. So
Yeah,
got some flexibility there for sure. Got a lot more talent on here than I thought. I mean, even and guys like Fournier, you can ship him off into with somebody, in a package for a star player. So we're in a good spot. I feel it'll be exciting just kind of see how things start to turn here in the next couple of weeks, especially after the finals are over. I think that's when you really start to just hear, things will start kind of picking up traction on like who's going where, trades and stuff like that. I'm hoping that Trajan and them got the Brandon Ingram trade just sitting on ice.
yeah. No, that's kind of what I'm hoping too. And I think I was just gonna say just the Trajan thing. It's so new. We don't know nothing about him really.
Yeah.
And I think just so it'd be cool to see how he maneuvers this, and if
Hmm.
he's a because I do think I don't want to talk crazy here, but I do think we are in a I don't know, we're in a weird spot where it's like I could see us going crazy for like 35 wins too. I could,
Yeah.
like I could, and making a little bit of noise, beat some teams we don't got. Like I do think because it's overdue. It's one of those
Hmm.
things where we maybe it all can come together this time around. But also I don't want to get nothing ahead of me because we've said this last 2 or 3 seasons in a row.
Yeah.
So I am going in with the expectations that we'll be at 22 wins or something. But
Well, we
um,
got we got more clarity this time because we thought Troy Weaver was doing something this whole time, and then you kind of fast forward and realize like he really wasn't. So like at least we kind of like I feel like we have like an expectation of like what we don't want to see. You know what I'm saying?
mhm,
And I do feel like, and this is obvious, is all get out, but like I'm sure like he's all Trajan's kind of seen like what's already kind of happened, and you're gonna hope he's gonna have some different couple different routes he's gonna go. I just hope that he like we ain't gonna be just taking on bad contracts, trade deadline, and just doing that whole
right,
cycle thing again. I just hope that we can spend some of this money in free agency. We said it a couple podcasts ago. Might have to overpay here and there just to get somebody from a contender or something like that. I hope they just kind of willing to do that just to like because now I mean we're kind of just messing with Cade's career to the point to where I mean he'll sign that max deal, but like, what we see in the
at
NBA
what
now,
cost?
guys
Yeah,
signing max deals, they asking out, you know, 60 games into the season if things not shaking out. So I hope that like they've kind of learned from what Troy did and they try to just approach it a complete, just a different way. And hopefully it's like win now type mentality. Um, yeah,
yeah,
I don't know how many more seasons I can do of like 18 to 20, 14 to 15 wins from here on out. Like I just want to be able to just see my Pistons competitive again. So
Right. No, I second that. You got anything else for the people?
oh, that's all I got. I'll be back with y'all next couple weeks as the draft gets closer to just touch on some of the players we like and some of the movies we'd like to see
Yes, sir.
next time.
Peace.